I'm here today with Mark O'Mara, who is, he will not say it because he's very humble, but he's a prolific attorney here in Orlando and has his own practice focusing on family law, torts, and has a great team. And they're right in downtown Orlando. I've gotten to know Mark through the community over the last couple decades, and it's been wonderful to see. And then we've also been able to work together professionally. So, I thought given his experience in high stakes litigation and then also his experience into commercial real estate and investing now, he'd be a great guest to have. So welcome to the show.
Hey, it's great to be here. Thanks so much for the opportunity. Looking forward to it.
Awesome. So taking us back, you've been practicing law since the 80s, correct? You were a prosecutor?
Yes, actually, I started as a prosecutor way back when over in Seminole County is where I cut my teeth. And I loved it, really enjoyed prosecuting. I think it's a better place from which you can get justice, even than being a defense lawyer, because we sort of get the client we get and you have to deal with it as best you can. But prosecutors have so much power and authority that they can really mete out justice as long as they maintain their ethics and morals.
Yeah. So you were there. Did you have any experiences there that you would want to share that really shaped your next decision making?
I think it was just that as a prosecutor, you got to really focus on those people who deserved a break. You know, look, criminal law is interesting. People do things wrong, they need to be held responsible. Most people who do something wrong not have an excuse, but maybe an explanation, maybe a reason. I mean, drugs or alcohol, that's not a good reason, but some people do it for whatever reasons they do. Violence against other people, again, not justifying or excusing it at all, but normally you can find out where a person started being violent, maybe childhood, maybe things like that. So most of what criminal law is trying to explain away behavior. And I learned that as a prosecutor, that if I listened, you got at least some good insight or ideas.
Do you find that now that you've had your firm that your leadership style has evolved over the years? And if so, how so?
So part of it is it was always a smaller firm, right? It was me for the most part with
Yep.
1 or 2 staff and then 3 staff, and then I had an associate. But what I sort of realized when you're doing it all yourself, a couple things. One, you do it however you want, and it's my way, so I don't way to do it than my way. So this is how we do this. But then when you realize you're dealing with 5, 10, in this case now 24 or so other people, you have to have the procedures in place, the policies in place. We were just talking this morning about TRO, yeah, time off and how to do all that stuff the right way and how to organize. You have to have that because you want to have some certainty because it's not just me and my paralegal anymore. And my leadership style has developed in that I now have to acknowledge that I'm not always right. I was always right when it was just me because it was only me. But now you have to sort of realize, okay, there is some other thought processing here. Maybe we should do it that way. Maybe we should bring in this person. Maybe that person's really not working out. Maybe there is a better process, even for something as simple calendaring process, whatever it might be. And I've realized over time that I've had to develop to give up more control, whether it's to Brittany, for example, as my partner, or Greg as a firm administrator. You have to sit back and go, okay, I won't do this anymore. I trust you to do it. And that has been a growth process for me in my leadership sort of management style.
It sounds like it's been an adjustment, but also probably freeing as you continue to develop more of that foundation.
Absolutely right. Yeah, no, I'm very happy that I have people I can trust to handle those things so that here's what I want to do. Wake up every morning, grab a file and run to a courthouse, right? That's me. I'm a
Yes.
trial attorney. That's what I want to do. You can't do that if you're doing payroll and if you're doing this, if you're doing that and time off and lights. So the idea of being able to give that to somebody else and let me focus on what I'm really good at, It just makes more sense. And quite honestly, I charge a fair amount of money for what I do, so I should not be paying a light bill at my hourly rate, right? I
No.
should be doing that only that would only I can do, and charging people my rate for it should only be the quality stuff.
Well, speaking of your hourly rate and your qualifications, I understand that your reputation has led like other attorneys like across the country to bring you into challenging cases. How do you build that level of trust?
Well, I mean, look, let's face it. I had one massive argument of that with the Zimmerman case about
Yes.
a day ago because I always I think had a good reputation. I love my board certifications. I'm board certified in both family law and criminal. Um, but it was a local reputation, and I enjoyed it, and I was very happy with it. Zimmerman hit, and all of a sudden, I had a national reputation. It was literally 2 years of insane national and actually international coverage of that case, and that just threw me into the spotlight. I didn't screw it up. So, yeah, I got a lot of, invitations to speak. I do a lot of speaking engagements now throughout the country, actually some out of country. And yes, I'm brought in by other lawyers and their team because they've seen that I can handle myself in front of a jury. And it's funny because I think trial lawyers, that's all I want to do. But most lawyers I've come to realize over my decades of practice still would rather not be in front of that jury. So bring me on because I just love that part of it. So yeah, a lot of teams have brought me in to try cases that are difficult to try in front of a jury.
That is interesting because I was in the legal profession before this, before I got into commercial real estate, and there are so many attorneys that it's just they're not comfortable, like, in court and not comfortable in front of the trial, and it's, there is a saying, "Fake it if you make it," but if you don't ever get that, I think people can tend to sense it.
It's a frightening, I mean, I love it, but it's a frightening position to be in. Like we talked about a moment ago, we have people's lives in our hands. So when I'm in front of a jury arguing whether it's direct examination, cross examination, closing arguments, if I screw up, that guy could go to prison for a decade or 2 or 3 when he otherwise would not have, right? So that's a hell of a burden to carry. I mean, I'm very happy with it. I'm very comfortable with it. I can argue very well on somebody's behalf. I could not argue like this on my behalf. I could not go up there and go, "Hey, you know, vote for me," or "Go out with me," or whatever it might be. But on a client's behalf, it's a very to me, it doesn't seem to be personal ego involvement, right? I'm arguing on his or her behalf, and that's a very comfortable position for me to be in. But no, there's a lot of lawyers who just they don't want to be anywhere near a courtroom, and oof, I could live in a courtroom if they would just put a bed in one for me.
As far as now, you are building now this firm, you're building this legacy. You've talked now about you have a partner now, you built this system. I think you had the realization too that the next part of that legacy and that long-term thinking and everything involved when you were ready to expand your law practice. Can you talk a little bit about that and your decision to invest in commercial real estate and how what attracted you to that?
Well, again, you can just sort of wander through, and people say to me, "When are you going to slow down?" And I can simply say, "Oh, yeah, I'm going to slow down." But I'm looking forward to the next 5 or 10 years of making this even better. And part of that is continuing this reputation, not just for personal ego,
Right.
the 24 people who are going to be here, and I'm going to build up their possibilities and their future. And yeah, I guess it's a bit of a legacy. And I mean, this building that we're in now, because of you, is just wonderful. And it's a great place within which to build a legacy that we want to build. And it's a real, it's just, it's part of the foundation, right? It's part of the hardware that lets us really focus on the software of giving real good quality representation and getting known for that. I think our reputation is pretty good. We now have an opportunity to make it even better. And that's what I sort of look forward to with the people that we're bringing in, the other lawyers who are here, the support staff right now is phenomenal. Even we have 5 interns here who work for the law students, and they're great people. I
Right.
mean, the idea of being able to give them some experiences at this age or their age, it's enthralling to me. I love the opportunity and to make some differences. They're all gonna be young puppy lawyers pretty soon, and the idea of giving them some insight and maybe learning some of the lessons that took me longer to learn than I should have, that's what pumps me up.